I could turn it off until you'd like said you should turn off the waiting room. Like, how do you do that? And then Lisa told me. I'm starting it on YouTube now too because I just have not been on top of getting this, like all my bits and pieces ready for this ahead of time, which is fine. Like it's not that big of a deal to me, but except that I'm losing time during this. For saying that I should do that because I didn't realize I could turn it off until you'd like said. All right, hold on. Now put it on mute so this thing doesn't mess me up.
That go on YouTube.
So what I should be doing is I set up live stream in browser. Go to live now. Hi, Lisa. I'm getting things going here, but I'm working on it. All right, I'll put it there. That's good enough. There we go. Oh, good morning. All right, so I can take off my mute. Now I can hear myself again, or you, anyway. Good morning. So just as a heads up, Ben, we're live on YouTube right now. So anything you say can be used against you. Anyway, no, no, it's you can use any of this for social media later, and I will get that. Do you guys have access to the? Because here I can say copy streaming link. And then I could put it on the chat. Do you guys have that option when you see it's on YouTube?
Do I have an option for what?
So
yeah. So like at the top left, it says live on YouTube, and then there's like view. The drop down is view stream on YouTube, and then copy streaming link, like you were saying.
Bam. So okay. Cool.
So it does copy it and paste it somewhere.
If you'd like to, you can. It's great.
Okay.
Promote yourself. Promote this great team. Anyway. What I guess because I just posted it on the chat because I didn't think you had access to it, but you do, so that's great. All right. Morning, Ben. I've been doing this for a while, and every time I've gotten closer to being ready on time. There's one time I think I was totally ready, like on time, but it's just kind of an informal meeting stuff anyway. So let me pull up my little prompts. That will be on the screen for a little while. Is this it? I think this is the right one.
Are you still shooting for an hour for these things or 30 minutes?
An hour, but like I know that Cody said he's going to have to head out in about 15 minutes now. But that's the way it goes. People come and go. It's almost like a regular meeting. All right, so I'll start with the first part here. I'll put it in presenter mode. Presenter mode, come on. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna be on YouTube. We're not live on Facebook yet. That's one of those things that one day I might get to. Attendees can use it on social media. Chat will be repasted on the YouTube description if I think it's appropriate. But you can also always ask me to edit things out. Like I go back and I take off the first chunk of YouTube, like this part, and the other part later. So if there's anything like, well, maybe we should take that out, let me know. And here, nope, I guess we don't go ahead because here's the plan. So I'm going to give a quick little discussion. I'm going to do the welcome, and then you're going to introduce yourselves and what you do. And then we're going to try and, I don't know that I've got this really floating quite the right way because then I want to go right into discussion. And anyway, it'll work. And then I'll mention some events going on online. Everything's online at this point that my events are. So here we go. The topic this week is going to be organize your workspaces because we want to clear the way for inspiration. And there's so much stuff that can get in our way. And so we'll talk about that. And part of it is working deliberately. Because even though I talk about inspiration is kind of like, it's totally a flop if you don't have, you're actually not working hard on it. And it was even been said, trying to think which book it was, or it was a podcast I heard, that an artist was, or an author was saying, he's like, I'm not too sure when I have writing blocks, but I do know when I start writing. 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, like he just does it, you know, and just goes at it. Georgia O'Keeffe was that way too. She would just go out and paint. She had a schedule, she stuck to it. She would sleep she'd take a nap under her car. It was great. So it's both a mindset and a workspace. And my big focus when I started this business was actually moving people's workspaces around to make it so that there wasn't stuff in your way and so like things made sense throughout your day. I'm a professional organizer, but in the process, I also found out a huge part of it is actually mindset. And I really enjoy that part, to working with people and coaching them through talking about stuff. So it's organizing your spaces is not only your physical or digital space, but also your mental space. Isn't that great? Welcome to Adam's Friday Flow. We're going to introduce ourselves by telling a little bit about ourselves, and then we're going to chat, post our contact information and stuff on the chat, so we can put that on the YouTube, but also so that people here can enjoy it together. So my name is Adam Sparks Brechtel. My company is Sparks Flow. I open up spaces for people so that they can actually get their work done, especially family businesses. Aw, we got a kid in space. That's wonderful. All right. My little ones have come in on occasion too. Yeah, so I focus a lot on family businesses, and I will paste my stuff on there. All right, I will go back now. Oh, all kinds of exciting things coming up. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so that we can actually see your faces. And Cody, I'm assuming you were first. So it'll be Cody, Rob, Ben, and Lisa.
Hey, everybody. A couple new faces. Cody Pearson. I'm principal at Malmo Vimmerby. In Denver right now, but usually have 1 foot in Albuquerque, 1 foot in Colorado. And I do technology commercialization, operational transformation, operational leadership, technology transformation. And while I'm in Denver, this is just a good way, as well as 1 Million Cups on Wednesday morning, to stay engaged with the Albuquerque scene while we're still all isolated. So I'll paste the URL down below. If not already, I'll connect with you all on LinkedIn as well.
Right.
I suppose that's my turn. So yeah, Rob Hill at Van Dyke Mortgage. I've said it before, usually at the office where I'd bow tie it up. I'm the bow tie guy. But if you're looking for anything 1 to 4 unit real estate, we do that. So as far as mortgages goes, finance guy. So yeah, that's basically all I do.
It's hot stuff right now, especially refinancing.
Oh yeah, rates are low.
Hi, Ben.
First of all, are you in a comic book, Adam?
Me? Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
It totally reminds me of like one of the.
Oh yeah.
What was it? Sin City? That movie?
Yeah. It does have that look.
It totally does. Anyway, and then you put the hat on. I love it. Anyway, my name is Ben. I'm the creator of a product called Beanie Sleeper, which is a cooling head wrap with a built-in eye mask. Right now, we just launched beaniesleeper.com. Our IG is up. Not a lot of content yet, but it'll get there. And we're really basically a resource. I mean, my site is a resource leaning into breast cancer awareness. And so when you go to my site, you can where to find my product and then a bunch of other products. And then where you can find information by some great websites that deal with research and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Wow. So there are so many questions, and I want to let Lisa talk, but real quick, it's a headband, an eye cover.
It's basically, if you go to beaniesleeper.com, you'll see, but it's like imagine like a winter beanie with a built-in eye mask, right? An inner mesh lining to keep you cool, and no excess fabric so you can actually sleep on it or be in a chair and leaning back with it. Yeah, I created it after my own hospital stay last October.
Oh, wow. So the thing that I was really going to ask was do you also then have like a mask fold down?
What do you mean a mask fold down?
No.
Like, this isn't.
Oh, it's here. Then it goes here.
Yeah, it's not like a Jetson kind of press a button and yeah, it's not like that.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm looking this up. Lisa.
My name is Lisa McGarry. I run a company called Proficient Financial Management. We work with small to mid-sized companies. We do everything from cash flow management, advisory, payroll, tax compliance. That includes income tax, sales tax, payroll tax, all the tax. And of course, if you really, really want somebody to do it, we also do bookkeeping, but you know, perfect books are expensive. So most people like to let the machine do that these days. What else can I tell you? We work we have offices in Texas and New Mexico.
Cool. And newly moved to New Mexico too. So,
yeah, about, what is this, July? About
It's
2.5 months.
And it's such a weird world because I'm doing this like meetup with all kinds of people. And I talk to a lot of New Mexico folks, but then we've got New York on the line today too. Mr. Ben, you're from New York, right?
Yeah, I'm in Queens.
That's cool.
New York City.
Yeah. So I've opened up this this website, and I'll try and share the screen because this stuff is exciting to me. Where are we at? Did I get it? I didn't get it. Oh no, I did. It's just down here. Okay. Maybe it looks fine to you guys. So babysleeper.com, this one, the thing?
BEANIE. A beanie, like a head beanie. BEANIE.
Yeah, you typed it right-ish at the top, just IE instead of Y.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
And go ahead and paste your information on the.
Yeah, I put it in. I love connecting with people. So
great.
When you were first talking about it, I was envisioning like almost like a airplane pillow, but like something to put on your head.
Yeah, travel is really one thing I want to get into once people start traveling again. That's the thing. I've kind of this kind of happened where it resonated with men and women going through chemotherapy, and that turned out to be a niche I had no idea even existed. But you know, once people just related to my story, and they found commonality with their own story. So that's kind of how I'm leaning into this right now, and I really like it. I do think you can have business that makes money and still do good.
Yeah, that's my total goal. God bless you.
So these are
we've got
these are stores you can buy my product, but a ton of other things.
Okay, but that totally connects to why, because you're like talking about this beanie sleeper thing, and I'm like, and it's awareness for breast cancer, and I was like, what? Why? And then so it makes a connection because that's who would really like to use this, those who are going through surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's really nifty. Huh.
Thanks.
So I still see potential that you could, you know, like the balaclava. So instead of having, like, you could have the fold up, and then you could have like the extra bit on the bottom too. I mean, you can make this happen, you know.
Not really my thing, but I like your creativity.
I've learned
from past entrepreneurial experiences that iteration isn't always good if it's not organic.
Yeah.
And if it's not what paying customers want.
Yeah.
It just becomes an act of indulgence.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's fun to talk.
It just drives the cost up. It's crazy.
Yeah, everybody shifted that way during this time, or so many people did, you know, making masks and stuff. Do you have your own operations location for this, or do you have?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the business is out of my home. The factory that makes these are actually in Karachi, Pakistan.
Oh, cool.
They're very good people. I really like them.
Yeah. So did you? And I'm just going to ask this because so many people did it. And did you possibly also switch them to doing also masks during this time because they are
for me?
Yeah.
I'm not doing masks. That's not my Yeah, I'm here's the thing. This
No, you
niche
don't have to. Yeah.
this niche found me, so I'm gonna lead. I want to be the best at this niche I can be, and then if I need to branch out, I will. But masks aren't really my thing. My friend Edward Sylvia NY, he does custom masks because he's a fashion designer. They are gorgeous. So it's Edward Sylvia SYLVIA NY, and his masks are gorgeous. Yeah, Edward Sylvia. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I'm not good at this stuff. So
Nope.
Edward Sylvia, I mixed numbers and letters up. Edward Sylvia. Oh dear.
Oh my gosh. That's his Facebook, but he just launched his new website. That's gorgeous.
Chef and owner.
That's not him. His Facebook is, scroll up.
Yeah.
Facebook is Edward Sylvia New York. That's his Facebook. But if you put in edwardsylviany.com, you'll get his website. But yeah, this is him.
Oh, there they are. Okay.
Gorgeous face masks like this one.
Look. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my Facebook stuff on there too, so I should probably.
I mean, he does bespoke fashion.
That's pretty cool.
And he started making these for friends, and then it just kind of took off. So now this is what he does while, because nobody's looking for bespoke clothing right now. So this is where he landed. Yep, good guy.
EdwardSylvia.com. Is that his spot then? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try that. Cool. Yeah, and the thing with the mask thing, I was just more out of curiosity because I just heard so many people that had done that during this time.
Yeah, not me.
You got straight goals. That's good.
I don't sew, man. I don't sew. I learned how to sew to make my prototype.
Yeah.
But it was really like if I could staple it instead of sew it, I did.
That's great.
But actually, Ed helped me with the prototype. So the final piece you see on is basically how he helped me refine what I did.
Yeah.
He's very talented.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Slickster. All right. Well, thanks for that. That's cool. So,
Thank you,
when you were doing this, you actually started making them in your own home?
Well, he basically, I contracted with him to make me 10 because I wanted to float them around and see what would happen. And what happened was when I just started reaching out to travel and sleep and camping and universities. And I, by chance, reached out to like mastectomyshop.com and just basically told her my story and what I had. And when she emailed me back, she said basically her first line was, "I wish this was around when my daughter was in the hospital."
Yeah.
So there was an instant connection. She ended up buying my last 6.
Wow.
So my order's on back order in my factory, so I'm waiting to get them in. But yeah, that's when I knew it was taking off.
That's great. Yeah, and it's so, I mean, finding just that niche I've heard is like, especially finding when you've got a product, finding that particular place. Cody, have you ever worked with someone, your consultancy, have you worked with product makers?
Nope, I haven't. Not like this. Manufacturing is as far as I've gotten into in regards to that, but CPG, fashion, apparel, I have not.
What's CPG?
Consumer packaged goods. So like, consumer packaging, that's kind of like food, beverage, those types of things.
Yeah. I'm the new guy to business industry, so figuring all this stuff out as I go. That's one of the reasons I also started this group, because I just learned so much getting to talk about things. So I'm trying to relate it back to the topic, which it doesn't have to be. The discussion we have is really just, as you can tell, sort of kind of goes anywhere, especially if Adam gets on a tangent. But anyone else can go on a tangent too. That's great. I'm just pushy. So getting back to like the organizing your space, So you never actually did this, like organized making this in your home, Ben?
I made the prototype. I made it on my dining room table. I sourced all the things I thought I would need from Amazon.
Yeah.
And when I got everything in, I just started cutting and sewing and experimenting and putting it on my neighbors to see if it worked.
Yeah.
Just to kind of see how it would go. So yeah, I did this in my own home to create it because I found that people, once I knew I was going to look for somebody to actually make the finished product, it was better that I came at them with a prototype of some sort to work with rather than just an idea.
Yeah. That's cool.
Hey Ben, have you shopped this out to the other big online vendors, to Target, to Walmart, to?
I have not. One of the reasons is, well, really, it's a whole to do to get into those stores. One thing is supply chain, right? And in order to fulfill a supply for those kinds of stores, it would require an incredible investment on my part. And I'm a bootstrapper. So I'm trying to hold off on anything like that until I can really establish this within my niche and then go from there. I'm trying to grow it that way. I mean, even if Target said we want this, I couldn't fulfill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you protect this anyway, or is this kind of just going?
Oh, sure. I have a trademark on Beanie Sleeper, and then I have a patent pending on some of the other utility, like the flip up and that some of the flip up and stuff like that.
Getting it started is important.
Yeah, it's really validating it was important. And I got to tell you, if I didn't get good reaction, I would have dropped it.
Yeah, a patent doesn't do any good if it's not worth anything.
To be honest with you, I went down that road with my last startup and I put a lot of money into it. And basically I built a solution for a problem that didn't exist.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of money on that. This one, I didn't do that and I wasn't going to do it.
What was the other product? Just curious.
Oh, yeah. So it was an outfit recommendation engine that basically took disparate pieces of men's tailored clothing, shirts, ties, suits, sport coats, trousers, chinos. And if you picked one, it created a 3 or 4 piece perfectly matched outfit in the hundreds. Wow. So the idea was that you could pick an outfit and buy that immediately and not have to go back and forth and try and match things.
Wow. That is cool.
Sounds a little bit like Stitch Fix, though.
It's like it's a software version of Stitch Fix.
Right, yeah.
So basically, my outfit engine is the equivalent of like 1,000 stylists, because I am a stylist. My first company is called Redress. I actually styled business executives in their home, and it was from that. And when it was from that Faster Pants came about. And then when Faster Pants didn't work, nothing happened until my hospital stay, when this idea came about, because trying to get rest in a hospital is ridiculous. Lights on and off, nurses coming in and out. There's no way to get rest. So I was desperate for something to cover my eyes and to keep my head warm, because it's freezing in these places. So, yeah, Stitch Fix is amazing. I love the concept of Stitch Fix.
That's cool. Huh.
And you're like well networked then. It sounds like you're well networked. Then like once you're ready to ramp or whatever, you can.
For the Beanie Sleeper?
Yeah.
I say this, I've never made a product in my life. So everything I've done, I've learned, and I've had help with mentors. Like sourcing a factory, never did that before in my life. Actually working with my hands to create a product, never did that before in my life.
Wow.
Finding somebody, it was really lucky that my friend Ed was able to do this. I was actually going on Craigslist trying to find somebody to actually create the real prototype, and that was incredibly difficult. I found one person it didn't work out, and then Ed kind of stepped up and said, I have time, I can do it. And I was like, thank you. So yeah, it's basically been learning. I basically emailed my way into people's websites with my story and seeing who resonated with my story.
Emailed yourself into people.
Ready. I know a former executive at Crocs, and she's done a couple turnarounds already, bringing merchandise lines into Target.
Really?
So
That's awesome.
experience based. So once you feel you're ready, it's a friend of a personal friend. So it's not even, it's just kind of the, hey, do you mind if this guy bends your ear quick type of conversation. So she does.
Cody, that's amazing, first
Yep.
of all. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Awesome.
So I'll connect with you on LinkedIn and we can kind of go from, thank you so much, man. That's awesome. This is why I love these kinds of events, Adam.
Great. That's why I brought them together. So that makes
I mean, I'm in New York City. How would I ever meet Cody?
Yeah.
In like real, this is awesome. I'm so
New
appreciative.
York all the time.
Awesome. How could you not meet me?
I mean, in my daily life, unless you were on the subway for some weird reason.
And so Lisa, are there any clients, product makers?
Yes, we have manufacturers. I have clients who make auto parts. I have, let's see, one of my clients makes a beauty product. Actually, a couple of my clients make beauty products. Yeah,
We were talking about assets last week.
yeah.
So there's a lot more inventory. This is a topic. There's a lot more inventory with them and assets. Is that a lot more complicated than working with like a service business? Like myself or maybe Rob?
Well,
Or like what Ben used to do. Or do you still do the, sorry, do you still do the
styling?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. Unless, I mean, I do have some long-time clients who will call me occasionally, and I'll help them. But I'm so focused on Beanie Sleeper that, and that's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good because then you're able to focus on that too. Yeah. So how different are they as like a client tax bracket kind of stuff? Bye, Cody. He had to go.
You know, there are different things in accounting for different companies, and maybe, you know, I mean, we have some clients with inventory, and that's something that needs to get tracked at. We have to keep track of, but then I have professional services clients who serve the Fortune 500, and you better believe the billing for that is insanely complicated. And we do that. So I wouldn't say that any company is necessarily more or less complicated. The beautiful thing and the most exciting thing about working in accounting for small and mid-sized companies is being privately held. They don't have nearly as many restrictions in how they run their businesses. And so everything is unique and different in its own way.
And that's your hallmark. And that's one of the things we like to connect on is that you adapt to the people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, every business has its own complications, I think is, you know, the real takeaway from that, at least from the accounting side. You know, every business has its own uniqueness.
Cool. So Ben, you asked about my my visuals here. And I don't know that anyone in this group, in this talk has ever mentioned it. So I'll tell you what's going on. There's this thing, it's an open source program called CamTwist. And it basically interacts with any video setup you have. And the reason I even got it is because I was doing homeschool science for a while. And in order to use this digital microscope, I had to have some sort of program that would make it work. And so I randomly got CamTwist on the computer. And then when I started doing Zoom, it would only route through that by default. I was like, what's going on here? But I was like, well, if it's doing it anyway, I might as well have fun with it. So it was a happy accident that now you get all this, especially as it adjusts to where I am in the sun. It does it occasionally. It kind of makes me feel cool. But that's what that is. It's
Cool.
yeah, it's kind of fun. Yeah, so moving to the topic, because I just, and again, we don't have to stay on it, but I like to bring it up, is organizing spaces. So one of the things I do is I organize spaces, like for this one company, they have 5 different buildings. And in those 5 different buildings, they are getting stuff together to do construction work stuff. But it's a family-owned business that's, for 3 generations, have not put organizing as a top priority. And so this particular guy, he had one piece, a thing that cuts a tube, cuts a pipe, and it costs about $3. And he'd bought 12 of them and couldn't find them. And so he was kind of like at this point where he's like, this is nonsense, this lack of organization is not working. So he's been a longtime client of mine. And I've been organizing these 5 different buildings so that all of his employees can actually work with these different spaces and put things back without being a whole bunch of work. Like, it specifically goes in this place. It just generally goes in this spot. So that's one of the things I do. But have you guys done any like organizing your own spaces to make them work better? Or maybe another way to approach it is to ask, have you run into problems? But Ben had an answer, so I'll let you go.
I don't know if I wouldn't, I'm looking around now going, I don't think I'd ever show you my workspace.
No, you don't need to, yeah.
I'm kind of like, I like things in reaching distance,
Yeah.
which I mean is good and bad because you're not always, yeah, it's kind of a mess.
Like this?
Oh, see, you're braver than I am. Yeah.
It's my job.
Yeah.
I'm doing a YouTube, I'm trying to make a YouTube channel based on my garage, which is a whole nother story. But I'm an organizer because I need to be, not because I'm good at, or like, not because it's my default. Like,
So you organize offices.
yes.
That's so, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
You always
yeah,
hear about organizing closets or people's homes.
yeah,
I've never heard of an office organizer. I think that's really interesting.
yeah. Yeah, office and workspaces are my big thing.
That's very cool. How long have you been doing that?
Officially, for about a bit over a year. So I started my company in April. And when I was starting it, I still didn't even know what to call myself because I didn't know there was such a thing as a professional organizer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, have you noticed, well, of course you started right when COVID hit. So where are you located?
Oh, last April, not this April.
Oh God, I was going to say that's pretty brave of you starting this April when people aren't in offices. So if you don't mind, I'll interview you for a second. What have you noticed, or how has your business model changed since March?
I haven't. Well, it's changed a whole bunch the whole long way through. So to say that March really changed much of my particular business is, I don't know that it changed too much for my business because I'm so new and because I'm still trying to figure out how it all works together. I feel like I'm honing in on, like you talk about, niche. So I'm working on my niche, and I know that Lisa has a niche, but I don't know if Rob has ever told me his particular niche because of his clients. And I want to continue answering a question, but I want to jump back because I've also asked Lisa, or Lisa's told me this before. I can't remember. What is the name of like those small construction groups that work on your home? And you say they're usually your niche?
Specialty trade contractors.
I'm writing that down. Rob, do you have anyone that you think that you particularly like to talk to, or seems to be, if there is a thing, a niche in your group?
Yeah, there was a time where I'd call myself like a VA, like a veteran loan and or like first time homebuyer loan specialist, just because I would speak to that on a personal level because I have the HFA program here for one of our houses when I first bought as a first time buyer, as well as a veteran, right? So I have a VA loan, and yeah, so I guess that was sort of my niche, if you will. But lately, or rather as of last like fall into early this year, it was like off-grid housing. So that's kind of its own little bear on like trying to traverse guidelines for Fannie Mae and or
You're
USDA
doing
or something like that.
off-grid housing?
Yeah, I've closed one that was like officially off-grid with like it was on solar, it had a cistern and all that stuff.
That's
But
cool.
and I say one because, like I said, it's a challenge. It's not for lack of trying for others. Yeah, so that and people, and with that sort of comes a new construction realm as well, because sometimes people will come to you like, well, I love this plot of land, I love this location, but there's nothing there. I want to build and have just solar and all that stuff, and I gotta kind of walk them through checking those boxes. But then we have a separate construction lender on top of that, so they bring forth their own guidelines that they need a grid to be on effectively. So it's a different challenge in and of its own to do that. But
Yeah,
I guess that's sort of a different thing that it's been coming my way.
I go for it, Lisa.
Huh?
It looked like you were about to say something.
No. I'm like totally into what Rob's talking about.
That's great. So there's someone I was just talking to who was talking about, David Breaker, and he had a bizarre. He went from music to film to energy, like basically whether off grid or on grid kind of stuff. But he's all about like to make it last, it still needs to be on grid, and then anyway. So that's cool. Yeah. All right. So to go back to your question, Ben, because I distracted. I'm working on my niche group, like trying to niche down, not because I don't want to do anything else, because I love doing everything. But because if I do that, then like you said, you can, or like you probably are pointing out, you just seem to thrive better if you're focusing on a particular group. And so a lot of this time I've been trying to define what that group is, and what I wanted out of it. And so even though COVID didn't really change this, from the very beginning, I wanted to work with teams. That was another thing. But I also like the idea of career counseling kind of stuff, even though I don't know that much about a lot of careers. But, being that kind of thing. And I've heard of life coaches, but to me that sounded like it didn't really ring true for me, even though the idea in general, like, talking people through things. But I knew that I was good at taking objects and moving them to places that worked in smart ways with people. And so that's why I found out this thing called professional organizers, and I focused on that. And like I mentioned earlier, when I moved stuff around in people's spaces too, that's one thing. But Julie Morgenstern, who's like who's like she's the foundation of a lot of professional organizing. She has her first big book was Organizing from the Inside Out. And she points out in there, and I've learned through so many other things, that your organization, you can make it look organized, but unless you have a ghost or a maid coming in and doing that all the time, it's not going to stay there, right?
That's true.
And not only that, but in your organizing, part of it is just believing that you can organize. As pithy as that sounds, it's huge. So just like you probably learned in your business, just believing that you can create a product was one of the first huge steps.
Well, I mean, I believed I had the desire to create a product, because honestly, I had no idea what was going to happen, but I wanted to be on that journey. It felt right.
Yeah.
It was something, I built something I really personally needed. And at worst, I would have had 10 gifts to give to people if nobody wanted it.
That's great. Yeah.
I mean, that's the worst thing that would have happened.
Yeah.
But there's no shame in trying, and especially if you have a passion for it. So if your passion is office organization, that's all you really need, especially when you're first starting, because it's when you don't have money coming in, it's only your passion that's going to get people to hire you. Service businesses are much more, well, they're all challenging. Service businesses, I think, are incredibly challenging because you have to, there's a, almost like a tipping point of word of mouth.
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting out, because advertising is expensive and I don't think really works when you're first starting out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the big things. And I have a business coach too. And that was kind of the things. I wouldn't have gone online. I wouldn't have bothered with online aside from having a simple, very, very simple website. If it hadn't been for we're on the move with Rob. I wouldn't have gone online if it had. Okay, so that is what I changed. Because of COVID, I did this, which took a lot of time. So that sort of decreased the amount of time I was calling people and saying, hey, what's your business? How are you doing? How's it going? What are you particularly struggling with? What are you putting a lot of time into? You don't feel like you're getting a lot out of. What would that look like if you got that better? May I help you with that? That whole process, right? Mm-hmm. Which is not really what I do here. This is like just connecting because it's like getting out. Yeah. But this took up like 6 hours of a part-time operation. And that's a lot of time. So I've kind of cut it back partly out of neglect because this is the real part that matters to me. But there's like little bits and pieces outside of this that I try to do too, that I've sort of let by the wayside a little bit. So we'll work on them. But yeah, so that's one thing that changed. I actually cared about digital, and I even have a LinkedIn account that I'm paying attention a little bit to. I tried to do Facebook for a short while, but there wasn't much response there. I mean, what should I expect this early on? But also, the LinkedIn thing actually seemed to be doing something. And then Meetup, which is where you found out about it. It just automates so much. Whereas before I was like having to network in order to network. And Meetup just kind of makes it automated, which is pretty cool. That was one of those things. But yeah, the organizing spaces, I found out had so much to do with organizing your mindset that I was just like, wow, this is great. Because I really enjoy that. It was kind of like the Teams thing, except the team in your head. So that's one of the kind of the neat shifts for me.
That's cool. I mean, can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
So something you might want to consider is actually teaming up with an existing business coach, not necessarily your business coach. And the reason for that is they already have inroads into the places you want to be. You know what I mean? Because they're either coaching somebody who wants to change jobs or get into a certain field. It might be interesting to kind of create kind of like almost like a co-op. Just a thought. Yeah.
There's, and the thing is that in the organizing industry, I've mostly found that it's an abundance mentality anyway. Which is as opposed to scarcity where everyone's in competition, the abundance is more like the frenemy kind of thing where like I can't serve everybody and not everyone wants to work with me anyway. And we do similar things, but we do it differently. So that's a good advice to even like try and push that idea a bit more. That's cool. Yeah. So in Albany, you're not Albany. In New York, you're actually Queens even. You're not having like an off the grid building, are you?
I'm not having what?
Your building.
Oh no. We actually no. We use electricity. I mean, like from a power source. But here's the cool thing about New York is that in New York, you can actually choose how you get your what kind of energy you want.
Okay.
Everything goes through Con Ed, right? Because they're the big guys. But I'm with a company that gets like all of its energy from wind and water. So I pay a little bit more, but I feel good knowing that it's coming from renewable sources.
Yeah.
So I don't know about other, I know in California you can't do that. You're kind of with whoever brought you, but here you can. So that's kind of nice.
I'd heard of that, but I didn't know where it was. I don't think we have that here in Albuquerque, do we?
No, you can't like select it like that. But I mean, I know so if you get solar on your home and you're still attached to the grid, they do have, like PNM has that deal where like essentially like they obviously use your power for like the grid, and
Yeah.
there's definitely a certain percentage of like what we already use that's already renewable sourced.
My sister lives just outside of Las Vegas, and she has solar, and that's exactly what's happening in with her house and bill and that kind of thing.
They're using her footprint to generate energy.
Sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's why they're incentivizing people to get solar a while back. I don't know if you remember that, Adam, but like,
Yes, I
they
do.
would-
Yeah.
yeah, where they would pay for some of it or something like that.
And it started out high and then has steadily gone down. So if you got it from the very beginning, you basically
Mhm.
make money back. But
Right.
later on, not so much. But you feel good, maybe. So talking about organizing, so the Mr. Rob, you have a dynamic, organized work situation going on over there.
Right now, obviously, I'm at home, but and you actually haven't seen the new office yet, which we're talking like me and my own space and like how I organize it. I think my biggest struggle is right now I have a Mac, but I also have my PC that I do other work on, and I'm struggling like, where do I put my keyboard? Because I find I do that here at home, like, oh, I don't know which keyboard to go on. And like, I'm just like kind of a little bit all over the place as far as like which screen I'm looking at, but that's a struggle now. It sounds ridiculous to even say it, but that's I was thinking about that earlier when you mentioned it.
Well, and Ben, you're asking that how we changed during COVID too. And that's one of the huge things, right? Finance space. In fact, I'm hoping to move my operation here. It's really bright and kind of fun, but I'm wanting to move it into that mess of a garage because it's separated from the rest of the house more. And so I'm less likely to get like mentally interrupted by my family. Like, I love them, but I also want to be productive.
Yeah.
But also I thought it'd be nice, kind of a nice touchstone that ties into like more of my workspace. Because
you're gonna do a complete garage like makeover where you insulate and AC. I mean, you're in New Mexico. I think it's pretty hot there.
Yeah, we do AC sometimes. What do you think, Lisa? Is it hotter here or in Texas?
Oh God, it's so much hotter in Texas because well, for one thing, it's actually hotter, and in Dallas, it's really humid. So I had to run my air conditioner 24 hours a day, and I keep my house at 80.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we have these cool things here called swamp coolers. Have you heard of that, Ben?
I have heard of that. It's that swirly thing at the top of your roof, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just pushes, it can push moist air through your house. So you know how you have to close your windows in order to cool your building, otherwise you're wasting energy? If we leave our windows closed when we have a swamp cooler on, we're ruining the swamp cooler.
Okay.
Yeah, my electricity bill is about 1/10 of what it was in Dallas.
That's great.
So yeah, it's definitely, I would have to say, but this is northern New Mexico. Now, southern New Mexico, because I lived in Las Cruces when I was younger, and it is freaking hot there. Like in the summertime, I would feel my tennis shoes like melting on the parking lot. Just walking from the store to the car. Ooh, somebody's got a cutie.
Oh, I missed it. Aw.
In the background, Rob's dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
What kind of dog, Rob?
She's like a husky mutt, sort of.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I see.
Where I'm
Okay.
going.
There we go.
She got
All
annoyed
dogs
with
are
the
cute.
chaos of the kids.
Right.
That's cool. All right.
I've
So,
cats and they're hanging out.
and that's one of the things with organization too, is like, where is it that because right now, right through here is where the air conditioner is. It's like right up inside the hallway here. But to do this, like I have to keep this shut. Otherwise my family will like invade, you know? So, oh, that feels nice. So I'm figuring this all out. That's another thing is the garage tends to be cooler throughout the day with the door closed. So, but I need to put lighting in there so that I actually feel more inspired to be in there. Oh, another thing that I wanted to connect because you were talking about this, about passion, is there's a group around here, and I probably should shift gears here in a moment to talk about end events, but there is a group around here called, or a coach who has a little group, and it's called Farther to Go, and so farthertogo.com. Anyway, she's talking about and focuses on this thing called big juicy outcome, big juicy desired outcome. Have you ever heard of that before? Any of you?
I think I've heard of this. There's a podcast. I think it's on. I think it's called. Oh, hold on. It's on my podcast list. Go somebody else.
Oh yeah. So yeah, please. And while we're doing that, I'll go further.
It's called Zero to IPO. I think I've heard it there. A big juicy something something. I think it's. Yeah. I heard it there.
Yeah, she talks about it, but she keeps on quoting research. Farther to Go. That's what it is. So yours is, what is it again? The podcast?
I think it's called Zero to IPO.
Zero to. Remind me what IPO stands for.
Initial public offering.
Okay, so this guy here.
Yeah.
Okay. Zero to IPO podcast. Okay. Yeah, so this is a key thing. And like the effect this can have, again, about the belief stuff and organizing in your head, is that if you're trying to get something done and you have like a little goal and a little sort of payoff that you have out there, you might get it done. But apparently, if you have something out there that like is a risk to go for, then you're more likely to be passionate and desire and like have the work ethic to get it done. Does that make sense? So the fact that you just believed, when I said you believed that you could make this hat, you said, well, I believed I believed I could make 10 Christmas gifts or gifts or whatever. You know, but you had this dream of possibly in the future, right? That it was a risk to even think about it, to even try to go anywhere. And so there's something in your head where she had like two objects, and she's like, this is like where you want to be, and this is who you are now. And so as you're getting there, the further apart it is, the more dopamine you get. Isn't that weird? So in your head, you get. And dopamine was usually considered to be pleasure, but more research has showed it's the wanting. That's what it is. Dopamine is your wanting hormone. And so you get more dopamine if you've got a bigger goal or more juicy desired outcome, something, and not objectives, but actually like something. Objective means I do this, this, and this, and it'll be done. As opposed to like, I want to get it for this abstract, really exciting reason. Like changing the world. All right, so that was my excited little bit there. I'm gonna shift to, oh, did it go away? Is this the my
there's no way you lost the internet.
Okay. I'm gonna switch. What am I doing here? I'm trying to share the screen, but then my screen is okay. There we go. All right. Little bits and pieces. So to wrap this up, I want to talk about some events. They're all online. 1 Million Cups every Wednesday. Ben, do you go to 1 Million Cups there in New York?
Do you know, actually, I haven't. I go to one that's in Denver. There's I kind of find them all over the country now that
Yeah.
we have,
Ironic.
and I think that's actually been to my advantage because some of them are just amazing. Some of them are really big, and yeah, it's great though. I do love it.
Is that how you found out about me? Was you went to the Albuquerque one by chance?
No, I found you. I just put in, I probably put in either startups or entrepreneur into the search box, click on all distance, and you popped up.
Wow.
Bam! That's why I put it in my name. So Thursday, there's this crazy thing called Kick-Ass Entrepreneurs. It's a virtual happy hour. It's not usually a virtual happy hour. What she usually does, and this is in Santa Fe, but it's online, so anyone could visit, Ben. This time they usually have some entrepreneur tell kind of a story about their experience, and that really has a good draw. But I think one of the reasons she's doing something different is I've seen kind of a drop off in this sort of interaction on Zoom and stuff during the summer. Maybe it's a summer phenomenon, maybe it's a Zoom fatigue. But anyway, she's doing a virtual happy hour instead of having an entrepreneur come on. And so you buy local something, drinks or food, and then we'll get together on Thursday evening and talk about local food and stuff.
Okay.
Upcoming Mix and Six with Stacy Sacco. So Stacy, I've mentioned him before, and he has this Mix and Six. I called him up last week after I mentioned him on this cast last time, and I don't know if he's still got it on his website or not. But if you go to Meetup, you look up Stacy Sacco, you may or may not find this thing, but that's a possible event. And then next week we're gonna do Leveraging Stress, which was inspired by a book I'm reading right now called The Upside of Stress, which I thought was kind of a lame name, but it turns out that it's really cool and it can save your life. So spark your return on investment, and joyfully organize your business is like the little thing I'm trying to figure out how to end this. And that's one of the things I thought, oh, that's cool, because giving back to people way more than they put into you is what our goal is in our businesses. And so keep the sparks flowing. And that's where I end everything. And on the video, I cut it out. Thanks for coming, Ben.
My pleasure. This was really fun. Listen, you said you post these, or do you do some editing or something and then you post?
Yeah, it's already posted. I'm going to save it as public when I get off of here. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen.
Would I be able to use any of that?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know how I would do that. I have a social media.
I don't either.
What'd you say?
I don't either.
Okay.
You can post a link on Facebook. You could, I don't know, whatever you want to do.
Would I be able to edit? Would we be able to edit?
If you want to what I'm going to do is I'm going to download all of these right now, because right now they're just on adambrechtel.com. And I'm going to download them all onto my computer and then re-upload them again onto a channel that I'm going to make for Friday Flow when I get to it.
Gotcha.
But you probably could do the same exact thing. Just download it. And on YouTube, they have an editor. So if you upload it onto YouTube, they could edit it. But if you have, you probably know people that know editing stuff.
Yeah, that's as long as I can download it, because it was really interesting. Oh, bye. She left.
Yeah. The etiquette of leaving is so bizarre on this, because you're sometimes you talk over each other and it's like, oh, I'm ruining things. But yeah.
Anyway, so I'll look into downloading it, because this was really fun.
Thank you.